Dotsara. Ta Jinde Menga de Yura. The day the chance of Tina for this.
So now, picking up where we left off, in the last session, towards the end of the last session.
Tilas.
So towards the end of the last session, we were discussing the two methods through which one can generate the altruistic intention of bodhicitta. So we were able to discuss the first method, which is through the process of equalizing and exchanging the self with others, or the self for others. Now, moving on, we will discuss the second of these methods, which is called the 7 precepts of causes and fruit. So it will be helpful if you are able to note down these 7 precepts in your notes.
Tadamudi as a mashipa, ra. Tene tentemba, tene tenzo, tene yon, and chamba.
This is legally some.
Oh, Tamudam mashipa. Tene tentemba, tene tenzo, tene yon, tene chamba, tene hije, tene hasam, then chasa.
Yes. So the 7 precepts of causes and fruit are in this order. First, identifying all sentient beings as our mothers. Second, remembering their kindness. Sentient beings as your mothers, or as mothers. Second, remembering their kindness. Third, repaying their kindness. Fourth, developing a mental outlook of them as being appealing to you. And then developing love towards sentient beings, developing compassion towards sentient beings, and then developing resolve to be of service or to be of benefit to sentient beings. So these 7 precepts of causes and fruits are 1. Identifying sentient beings as mothers. 2. Remembering their kindness. 3. Repaying their kindness. 4. Developing a mental outlook of them as being appealing. 3. Appealing. Then 4th, developing love. Fifth, developing love. 6th, developing compassion. 7th, developing resolve, the mental resolve to be of service to them. Developing a mental outlook of them being as appealing.
Dilara. Tarapena and the Tambo de la Simjetaji Masheba, la ra. Taina Simjetaji Marbe, ra. Penangaran some parts of Marbe, Kadum, Sidi, Marvella Marwa. Ra. Zamda Simjetaji mine and a loyal mushroom, less cigar. Inea, Tangan number she judged, Jow Hashikela, ra. And the Chewa de Chewa Ching, but Jow Tonamo, Jarama Wingla Drutsa. Mau by now the meeting Jow Langora, Tindichi and Nambe Taduchina, Tindichi Kenichi. Tinday into any Tanganzo Kiola on the Kiola, Tomame, but Tangame, but she lends Hadigala. Tanganzo Kiola Chiglen Welena, Pamara, Maltevora. Tinday in Sani, Suzugita, Kio Tonda Yampage, Madinimobi. The more much Hatsawa, and that's Suzuma, Mau Bachar, Chabanju, Ma Ladigalani. Simjata machi manu but chicha miss. Ra. Kiawala tangame but tangatzimatu in the gala, Malaya tangatzimatu. Ra. Tin Davis Simji, the Tanderangi, Tandeli Chibaji, me, Lieutenant Penangado in the tower make Marellana, Mara. Inea, Nigingu the Juba. Tiniam, that much in my new permission, some announced penjo machi, ra. Oh, Tindichilla lady, and Sinjata Marshipa, Lady Gala, Tindichilla.
So now when we look at the first of these 7 precepts of causes, which is 1, identifying sentient beings as your mothers. Now immediately when we hear this, that we have to first identify all sentient beings as our mothers, then maybe it is a little bit hard to fit it within our mental outlook or our perspective at this moment. So why do we exactly say that we need to identify or look at sentient beings as our mothers? So from the Buddhist perspective, it is pretty clear that time itself is understood to be beginningless. So if time is beginningless, then we have taken countless births up to this point. So if we have taken countless births up to at this point, then there is no sentient beings who have not served as our mothers at one point in our previous lives. So as such, we recognize all sentient beings as our mothers.
Today, the Yamaga Tinita Kasara and that's over to Ora. I listen to the my mind, so dry as the mind, but so palaya, so Amarbella. Anis, little Taran to Bombole or the land of Kausha, and Jama Pajutu on the mind, and Karapaju Pui Belado, the Chawara, the court to burn the Najira, Chitangi and Zugi, the Tarangi Mama in a Jawhamaham Machadora.
So, if we do not understand this, then maybe it is a little bit difficult to come to a place wherein we can recognize sentient beings as our mothers. So if you kind of take it at face value, it is difficult to accept it. But if you understand that from the perspective of Buddhism, we look at time as being beginningless, and as such we have taken countless births, then this process of identifying sentient beings as our mothers makes sense. Now, we also used to face the same struggle in accepting this. So as young monastics, we engage in debate, as debate is part of the curriculum. So when a particular text advises us to identify and recognize sentient beings as your mothers, then as young monastics, we used to debate then your mother is also your mother, your enemy is also your mother, your father is also your mother, and a cow that is running about is also your mother. So all of these are your mothers. How does it make sense? So through the process of debate, then we go back to the point that is made about countless births and beginningless time. So within that framework, we make sense of this process of identifying sentient beings as our mothers.
Tadichera. Tamashi, but 10 like that. My gardening on the touch on the Mancha Amachini in a Shingere and so Papa in a Chinina Amagikan Kazuja Hakura. Today in Sata, Malay, the only Tandangaransi city, Malakan Kalikazu Hakuda. Then on the meal, you did Amadi pudding yellow Chawane Amadala Dakalo. Put the sun Shutanga. Kala de Kajuma Sayam, hand among Sayam, Mare, Chick to look on the Hango Kana and Jenny, quality Tomachigoda. Any Amagita, dog goods, Togoni Kigore, Tinema Chim, the Gala Amatela Suse Kazirera. Any that Yandi Yaput Tambuji Chiguna, Maina, some Sende. Ra. That didn't tembo Yapuchewa Inaya. Diana Cola Kalada to get to load the dream and the Homar Puchina, Lashingomara. Tachipu, Kija, and the Pama de Sende Hazera. Tenea did the Chimburo Chata, Nijan, Rota, Deda, Keshina, Tadia, Chesatica, Keshero, she and a menace, Teddy Senator, particularly about the Tata Yunamena. Tadinea Cheselidian, College Lebron, then the Descolado, Nimanimataado, Tindigala Sende. Tenea de Galan, Chigam Mission by the Yamdu and Rotu and Lojon, the top of the Regina, Gain Kalani and a menacem. That is Shashara.
Yes. So then, now, if we understand this, then moving on, the second of these precepts of causes is remembering their kindness. So remembering the kindness of our mothers. So first we need to kind of relate this to the experience of a mother in this life that we can see. So look at the relationship between a mother and a child and how the mother really goes through a lot to provide care, nurture for the child. So from the moment that the child is conceived in the mother's womb, the mother now has to sacrifice a lot. 9 months of labor. In that nine months of labor, she goes through a lot of physical pain, emotional distress, and then the act of labor itself, without saying, there's a lot of physical pain, and then there is also emotional distress that the mother goes through when she begins to kind of worry about whether the child will turn out fine, and so forth. And then birth, now giving birth to a child is not the end of the duty of the mother. Now she has to worry about the health of the child once she gives birth to the child. And then she really has to provide love, care, concern, nurture to the child. And then there comes a time when the child has to be sent to school, and then the mother has to take care of the development of the child so that the child turns into a healthy adult. And then that's also not the end of the mother's responsibility. The mother also kind of keeps on worrying about it. So when we look at the relationship between a mother and a child, then we realize that it is one that is marked by love, care, and concern. So this is what we mean, that we need to appreciate this relationship and then understand that since all sentient beings have served as our mothers at one point, then we should be able to remember their kindness too.
Tata iti pugudi tanda tholo ta khalakta high school le da tindejin ro ti parula ta tijina ni tholo ro ra an tholo de gala ta khashi fees chimbu jangu da tinde gala sende phamma khora sama da tungma da sa tungru sujudi pugudi gal tang ra ta pugudi tinde lo ro chin lo de yakpuji chige na han jamja chige jobang yamba de chage ko pe sende da pe ko pugudi ta ni ne chakwane chene ta ama khora mashi ba de pugul sende da ra pugu kadum kadishana amala pugu dipe dido halo pai chimbucha pe migimba chana tandu sene ra ami ta pugu de tan college do jin ya puch then ta ya lega ya pora yena mena ra ta lega ya puch ra yena ta de ho kola message singu de kola rokba de ya puch ra yena mena nami ta nan de ya dile pugu ya puch yena mena ra ya ti pugu chene pugu de le sene tinde genga zo la chi kala phama ama seni di pe khalo san ta pe jachambor da mis khanza ra anza chingne ko je mijlo roba chene nima khashi da dawa khashi phama seni dinre mda ra anza chewani chi khona mashi pa to ngazla sendi chi do ra nganzo ende phathe thu de tes kale khawda san shu chaw mata wen den haba da bugu chunju indi ani phama da ni chugum da bugu ngo ke ja nda mana da de na yo go na khare na khora pe de gondani ma juna sani lega do ra tende kale pe momdo ra tende tande ala ten table ta ngazu dunzu ten ra susugi phamagi ngala andi kale joyna tandegi phamari ngazu susu tema sogi me ngazu mishimba pu la phamagi kale khadu jo ngazu thoda ra tinashi susu phamagi dindi chera susu phamagi ta amagi andi chena kyang hamagi ge pham amadi andi chera di ngela amadi andi chera ta düri doje mata khanda kunzu same kale jawa chibara ra tende indi gala ani nganzu ta mashi bagi tende de rashu gu kola chewa da pe thanye bu da tende chaido ani susu gu da tasa minda ra daina ngem ngara atso amara ra tezando maji mi da nganzu mi shisha jene shire ani sinje dundro injine susu jingi bugu de chetsa de gala susu zuze tende jiwa ina chetsala majal kol dabu jero ra phaju ne chide choma endi chiwara ra tende indi rashi gi tanga amala de oni pe khala nganzo le chikis 자와 슈첨보여 봐. 라. 하선 헤미. 갈라올다 갈라. 티 자원이 님이죠. 짱마짱자. 라. 코라 소로 투노. 코라 시군에 시투니 된데게 아니 안절라 간데시 못 짱해라. 텐텐발라네.
So herein it is important to kind of contemplate on this relationship and try to relate it to our own experiences with our relationships with our mothers and so forth. Now, when we say that we have to remember their kindness, the kindness of our mothers, then we are using this example at this point. A mother, the moment a child is conceived in her womb, until the moment really when she passes away from this world, she really is concerned about the child. For example, it is not the case that once the child grows up after finishing school, after completing their education, that the mother stops worrying about the child. Even if they grow up into an adult, the mother begins to worry about if he or she finds a good job, if he is able to find if he or she is able to find a good livelihood. Then even if he or she finds a good livelihood, then she begins to worry about whether he or she will find a suitable partner in their life. And then that's not the end of it. They worry about the child, of their own children. So then it's endless in this sense. So when we look at this, we really understand that as mothers, they forsake their own comfort and their own well-being for the sake of the child. So this relationship highlights the fact that as mothers, they have a pure sense of love, care and concern towards their children. So when we understand this, now we need to open our motivation and perspective when we look at other sentient beings, that if our mothers in this life go through such lengths of personal sacrifice, forsaking their comfort and well-being for the sake of their children, then it is also true that in our previous lives we had a mother, and in the life before that we also had a mother, and all our mothers' helps have to varying degrees have made the same sacrifices, nurtured us with the same love, care and concern. So then it makes sense to kind of develop an attitude of being grateful to all sentient beings for having nurtured us in this manner as mothers in our previous lives. So now we cite the example of a human being at this point. Now look at the animals too. The relationship between a mother and a baby animal is similar. As soon as the mother gives birth, then the mother goes through all lengths to ensure that the child survives, the child grows up to be a healthy animal. So through this, by understanding first that all sentient beings have indeed served as our mothers, and then remembering their kindness, then we begin to develop an attitude which can bring us closer towards other sentient beings, and as a result of that, we can look with other sentient beings with love.
Today, the day chickers and the singing to the Tangana Machel Dolma, Kashi, I'm a Kashi Musira, so the poor jail that you shine in Yamitani, the knee, cheese means remember, Pejapin Nura, Tananga Kiu Chanashawara. I could add the Chabam, the ditching Yeresana, Suzuki, Martin, it's all the tarring tying. Teach it that might can the digging on the like Changina, Tan to Carcho, Tanda, Ra, Tapama Massing the Pamasine, Kanda Kuntuya Low again, Dore, Ani Ombanyara, Anjo Magwazimi, Matoya, Combajama to a cha, Kala in a Yamanaji Sama to a cha, and itching Mania and a neat Tatamaku chicha. Ra, Anichi Semba Soso Lord and such on the Gala Zubu, it's young to Gala, and somebody a machi a child, a can in Yora. Ra, the game go the land, Nasadamade, Tayura. Ra, so the Yamanga Machetu Nashimatu a child to Gala, Kanji Medical Assembly or Kanyera. Tidig in Negable, and I got to put up on scene, Susu Pamana, Yapuche, the Peki Chamara. Ra, that's me, Tonsalation to him, Mother Yapuche, tell hard Ra. Chinandel had could attend at the Shana Yapurete. So many Susan Kade Chansha Jugi Annie, Pamada the Yapuchene, Peki Chamura, Hashiami Tang, the usual Tima in Bachatang Landa Lucy, the Susu 제가 군도단 담는 이게데 이내 수수수 상당히 백해점으로 봐. 디 수수 소설 까지 첨부에는 배는 가서 단다 조코토모니네 미치 캐나다 다리 수시로 시게다 칼라 투지다나 들 투지 첼란 슈 칸들라고 다 파마딩 간줄라 로니 단다바도 간줄 칼레지라 다 두즈라야 빠바 칼라 쳬바체나 가지 콘조 간줄 칼레지 들어 두즈 태야 백해 첨부.
So now, when we say that we have to identify sentient beings as our mothers, and then we have to remember their kindness, then maybe some people also, it is liable that some people might bring out the point that it is not necessarily the case that all mothers are kind to their children. But this is not the way to look at it. There are instances and cases wherein maybe the mother is not able to provide the best care and best care for the child. But these are, if we look at it, these are very few cases. But generally, when we look at the relationship between a mother and a child, then it is, as we discussed, a relationship of love, care, and concern. And now, moving on. If we are able to indeed identify and recognize sentient beings as our mothers, and we are able to remember their kindness in this manner, then what should we do now? Then, if we are able to understand this too, then it makes sense that we bring ourselves to be able to repay their kindness out of a sense of gratitude. Now, as our mothers kind of care for us throughout their lives, there comes a point wherein they become unable to care for themselves. Age takes a toll on them. Then their faculties, mental and physical sense faculties, begin to decline, and then this takes a mental toll on them. They are not able to sleep on time. They are not able to do things that they want to do physically. So as such, it is our duty to be able to repay that kindness and to look after them and to help them in those times. And really, I think this is a very, very profound practice, because we talk about practice in the form of going to a place of worship, making an offering to a statue, and so forth, and equate that with practice. But maybe repaying our kindness to someone who has been really, really kind to us, that is the most profound form of practice. And try to think about it in this manner, the importance of repaying kindness in this manner. And then we will understand like how careless we are in the relationship that we have with our mothers. For example, if someone invites you out for dinner, and then you go out of your way to say, oh, thank you for inviting me out, thank you for the meal, and then you are trying to show a sense of gratitude to them. But do we really kind of make the same effort in showing a sense of gratitude to our mothers? Then maybe there is a lack that we notice.
다든지 인디가라 아니 다 콘도 경고 차원들라 지단 기타 미 경고라 쇼쇼지 콘들라가 저기 지기 코란슬 카유라이 와 경고 코란이 표지 다야 지그라 배나가지 나와 있는 평안태야도다 아니 코랄지 사야 가시도 카리는 코랄라 따다지야도다 트레이 있다네 근데도 되다 아니지 센서체야 와 아니 저런 친구다 쇼쇼때 매바이네 잠자 투스체 코랄라 신도로 때 돌로 약보드네 때 아니지 계신 장보드네 시와 경고 차원들가 란자마 뿌고도 차르다 와 아무튼 다 가라서 단다데 경고디 하고 말데 나도 처바전에 통거다 경고도 계신 잠도시 갈리시리 코즈 뿌센로다 라 근데 많이 차원들가 제가 저기 콘솔라 봐 뿌고 나 상조 제반나시지 봐. 제 뺏게 전부로더라. 고졸에 레와 첨부 개요 말에 부구들라 가서 쇼지라 때 엔데도 싫어서 요만 부구디 데보 참고 야포치 요바이나 고졸 되인데 박한다 아니 잠자 소소 지틸미 바이나 카바탄가 데보이 남이데 참 부순서바 예 지라와이나 고셈 가도다 라 데 지 파마란 대와다 파미기 파말라 센데 마소야기 때 자신 지라 데 코가데 돼 아니 대 단나자 준데 엔데 sometimes the picky choda the family college over the ten undgala ani rashi king go chi challenge go the rashi le unda va the pay cation but that ten go.
So it is very important that we understand that we need to remember their kindness and we need to have a sense of appreciation for the sacrifice that they made to ensure that we grow up into the healthy adult that we are. So now when we say we have to repay their kindness, now we are talking in terms of this life first. So in this life, it is important that we try to help, try to offer them a practical help when they are in their old age. And when we really think about it, as parents, they do not really have like such huge expectations of us, or they do not really demand or expect so much of us. Their biggest wish is to know that you are doing well and that you are healthy. So it is important to kind of check in with them from time to time to let them know that you are well and that you are doing healthy, that you are doing well and that you are healthy. That in itself is all they desire to hear most of the time. This is the kind of the hope that they have. And now, practically, it is important to understand that even though we ourselves are still yet to go through the tolls of old age, but I can estimate that as people grow older, then they almost become more childish in their needs and in their behavior. So as such, it is important to ensure that we offer them the emotional support that they need, the counseling that they need, to ensure that they have someone who listens to them, someone that they can talk to them, someone that they can talk to. So these are the practical manners in which we can try to repay their kindness, to check in with them from time to time, then maybe bring food that is healthy and that they enjoy, spend some time with them, take them to some places where they want to go, to ensure that they have the emotional support that they need in their old age. This is the best way in which we can practically repay their kindness in this life.
The baby 있다는 들치다 보고 마무지 파말라다 소소이다 소소 뱅겨야 보러요네 춘지로 체 춘지 땅 소소마카나 빙자들 배쳤다 이 춘지 체로 들치다 다 소소소기 제컵 소소기 공시 가시 칼라데 가시 둘로 가시야 참참라야로 코로나 가리 지투이는 뒤서야 되게 좀 인지민지 찍소 말아 소소소소 가르 빠바지.
So in the Tibetan society, when the parents become old, then the children, they try to ensure that the parents are not lonely, and that they are not sitting idly. So if they can, they try to take the parents on a pilgrimage, and if they themselves cannot, they ensure that the other relatives will take them on pilgrimages. So this is to ensure that they have a circle of friends and a circle of emotional support, and that they are able to do what they want to do. So this is the kind of things that Tibetans do. Then I'm sure that in the different cultures that you come from, you have such practices. So it is important that we kind of follow through with these customs and practices.
배낭나니 기다 규주버도 랑아디 지나일라스들 도에마 내가 저 촉하절다 스템다래 디디가라니 야 에니 몸부도 코란의 보보는 몸으로 튀lên 촉할테 콘도 도툼도다 디 콜로갈 튀lên 이만보다 아니 칼라도 키 바보 몸도 저티 야보라데 코라라 다니 마직 나란즈 미참말야가도 코란난즈 구소체라 저티 미만보다야래 코자치 김도 되다 디에 오늘 야보라.
So last year I was visiting Chennai in South India, and I was at the beach, And then I saw something really beautiful, that there was a family of Indians, and the young people, they brought their parents with them, and the parents, they were really, really old. They couldn't walk, but they brought them in a wheelchair to the beach, and they were enjoying the sights. They brought some food along with them. They were having a picnic together. So I think if we are able to do something like this, then that's very, very beautiful, to ensure that they are not locked up in a house and all alone, that they are able to do something, with the people that they love, in their old age.
Let's say at one point in your life you are sick or you are not well, would you, and you know it's going to be worrying for your mother, would you hide it, or in which way would you share it, knowing that your mother will also share pain?
That much you did like it. Manzo the Susan Mizina Naya like the Naya Nyachi Naya Imbaros. The Susu Kapjila Nayun de Zambasra, Susu Amala di Labgore Lapumaresra, Lamnani Pajudi Sims of Chimpochiros. They any contest.
Kira aman nas do doina lana kira labjara ira kira di kala di masa this amala shen dini mewaina malana yagar am kangir tachu nasha lan kola something yaga chite thumaro ta phomud nasha khadu thagi ne khadu ra di so san ta ne dan khane chile ra kita gantu shiso nalo lan dig mandi sama phama luye ma gantu kangi ma so sar tandu ya chembo je tandu tigala la dena khonzo kangi minzi khonzo gantu kangi te yiro chego ra.
So then it really depends on your situation. For example, if your parents, they are doctors or health professionals, then it makes sense to inform that you are sick. Maybe they can offer you some tips. But if they are not health professionals and doctors, then don't compound their suffering. You have already made them suffer enough in your young age, so it doesn't really help. Because it is the case that if you begin to kind of talk about anything that is happening in our lives and in society to our parents, then they kind of really latch onto it, and then they become disturbed themselves. So you should be able to judge this for yourself, whether it helps the mental state of your parents or not.
시간 저기 리슌레 엔드다 부구데 다 첨보자 수 레가치 강이 카레나 차르처럼 강이데 뭐보요라 이네 디참마 파마를 누구만 실로레도 강이 카르테 나로레디 찜도 헐리라 그디 강이데 베샤 갈라나 파마라 강이 트바 마자시더라 야 가시게 때 바 친지치는 남자 되살라디다 근데 그 로바치마도네 세테 뭐보차르라
So in our culture it is the case that young people do not really burden their parents with the struggles that they are going through in their lives. When they get together with their parents, they kind of try to enjoy that moment rather than talking about the struggles that they are going through. Yes. Yes.
Taking the same example, if your parents were, they find out about whatever pain or suffering you're going through right now from a different source, and they feel like either you hid information from them or lied to them in some way, wouldn't that increase their worry than if you had told them originally?
근데 뒤와 다가라님도 튜네스라 소속이 다 마시는 양스라 아니 미신다지기 칸에 코나스라다 konyaande konnaade dulane pama yidi konnaani konzola dele jansen sab chha chagi marabes
tete design jaja khatu yora kesi ko koyona amaji konna matis nas da tha so de da pa sense ja se his se buche ne amai kyoke ko ndi gala megi lawale kyange ki di yichi cha chira ti so sa ni kare ga ne ta tai dai cha ra 네, 지당 양자 배에는 심바지 고나 마스리시라. 띠띠 카드카드 수수수 파 되기잖아요, 보라.
So then in this day and age we are able to kind of immediately call each other and so forth. So it's not like the old days wherein if your parents hear something about you, then they have to wait until the moment they see you to talk about it. I'm sure like if they hear something about you, they will call you immediately. So at that moment, it is important that you kind of you console them that it is not bad as they heard it from someone else, that you indeed were sick or going through something, but now you are much better. Your duty should be to ease their mind.
아니 결혼 나기는 아마 저런 세네 맞지 생각을 로바에 마보이 시에 트로버 트로머 사망하는 로버 치도 난 해야고 참아내 단다 사데 땅아 타이도 세네 맞지는 약간 디로 되우차로라
So then it is important that when they do call us, trying to confront us for the fact that we didn't tell them something, it is important that we try to ease their mind by convincing them that you have all the care and support you need, that you are taking your medicine on time, and you have to be able to do that.
디 다른 나라에 라기 나라 아마 폰당이라 자자 아니 그런다 다 남이 찍나로 미직 타는 보이는 컨트 지어라 빈자 심바 참아 아마 그런 틸 망보 틸이라 빈자 마체 빼래 안 거는 폰단다 좀미 심바 사실 심바지 넘바 싸와지 되오래 안 저런 지 칼라도 지기도 무도 전당이도 아니 로바도 저 간데 이런 게시티라 당에 담만디 비치시마 안 가지고 거야 아니 대사도 야빠예 아니 미로파 참아 야빠예 나 아주 딜레이네 거의 민다만이 워드 참아서서 파마치 바나시라 진간도 미드미 인디시션 나도 수이네 치바민도 서서기 직 파케션 츠 야뽀치 치바민다 라 근데로 오시네 되게 말을 선대 맞을랭야 안데 레기 아 차라스네 티라나코 아주 파마라다 강에 되버 마사시더라 소스 내다 간데지네 내가 아주 돈에 소스 치고라 라 나게 나래 가래나 소스 강에 소스 다 진나와이나 로바세야 소스 탑시 땅 거라마도 파마라라네 편도요 말아
So I can personally relate to these questions because my mother is in Tibet, and as most of my siblings are with her in Tibet, then I'm almost the only sibling here in a faraway land. So as such, my mother really worries about me when she calls. And then she asks me if I'm eating on time, if I have good food, if I have enough money, if I am keeping company with good people, and if I am getting along with other people. So then in my conversations with her, I always try to ensure that she is not worried. I say that I'm eating good, I have enough money, and I'm keeping company with good people, and the people that I have around me, really, we are really like siblings. We look after each other as siblings. So I do not really have anything lacking here, just to ensure that my mother is not worried. Because it is a fact that what we go through, we have to go through ourselves. The kind of challenges we face, the kind of setbacks that we need to overcome, we have to overcome it ultimately ourselves. We cannot always kind of push it onto our parents. So as such, it is important that we become responsible enough to face our challenges on our own, overcome our challenges on our own, without burdening our parents with the same. Yes.
단대로 가서 베베기 내다는 다 첩시가라로에는 베칼레레 가서 별레리아다 파마츠리아 답페 미스나로 두에 깔카오샤라 아이네 가서 지 센서로 chen 지나이 첩시가라고 가서 폰을 개치때 시에쇼 말이데 가서 지 두에 이래와 이죠로 라 안 베데와 메타 가서 미스나 두만 코스 벨로 방그라 가리는 좋아도 그래 지디도 엔데도 라야로야 된데스게 계시라
So now when we look at if we look at the political situation of Tibet and Tibetans, then it's very difficult at this point right now. The kind of Tibetans in Tibet and the Tibetans outside, it is very, very difficult for them to meet each other. Now, even though this is the reality, when I talk with my mother over the phone, I try to say that, oh, this is I do not say that this is the political situation and we cannot meet at all. In spite of that, in spite of this stark political reality, I always try to encourage my mom in this manner, saying that, okay, even though we are far away right now, there might be a time wherein we'll be able to meet each other. This emotionally consoles the other person in overcoming that sense of grief that they have from the separation.
다 디지치라 다 단도 됐어도 당은 마시버 텐테라 제선 된데지도 다 텐소 알디가라 당은 단데 아마디 가데 tin가도 텐사 알로 라 지차지 되다 티나세기 다 단도 수수 아마치 볼선 다 시시레 샤니 단능은 조파 린다다 라 pena tanda su amai kangi dinde je kali dinde je nga zula dinde chiyuna kyang hama de yete ni shuru an tinge ma de yete dinde nga zu simje changma la jiju ta thuya shli da ra ko pa piye da chu nem da changma la di tha rin thoji re ma to nga zula su su la ka de chemo yin ba chi ten du gala ra shi gi ta nga zu changma la ten zo ko wa changma la nyo ko chi bu ma yin ke ko la so ko la so ko la so ra shi gi nga zu changma jiju ta ya shi lo le mu da ra lo jang dang ro ende da.
So now if we are able to kind of think about it in this manner, then we should be able to train our minds and our motivations to be able to open up this kind of perspective and motivation towards all sentient beings. This sense of gratitude and this wish to repay their kindness towards all sentient beings, not just to your mothers in this lifetime, but towards all sentient beings, because it makes sense now that if this is the manner in which mothers have sacrificed to ensure that we grow up into healthy adults, then it makes sense that from previous lives, all our mothers have went to the same lengths to take care of us. So we kind of look beyond the distance of time and lifespan and lifetimes to look at all sentient beings with the same attitude to be wanting to repay their kindness. So this is the manner in which, through contemplation, we train our mind to overcome the conceptions of nearness and farness, to look at all sentient beings equally as our mothers.
Pena ngaran tsuki nyere ki tsuwa chita nganzu lumba sawa chito ina pagi mi ropa chi ko do ngenpa ina re mi cho kacho nacho kare ina re ra susu la chiki senpa zambu ki ropa chi chiyo nganzu rashi ko le yabu chi tong rukda ra di shulu ki namba da dindi chi mara ye dongwa la di kashi mi ama ina do nge ra kare ina yo singra ina ya susu la yabu chi senpa zambu ki tong le ane kiki pensen ki ko ne hali chi chiyo nganzu mi di rashi yabu chi tong ida ko kancho inare, jakpa inare, do nakpo inare, kari inare, di dindishitong uda, yi dongwa la. Cheta soso le tsu kadin chang shani ki, soso le tsu la pensen ki da chi shani ki midi la, rashi ki nganzo la yi dongwa shi. Ko zo buki netan kanda yi nama ina, ku ki tsewa dang, ani korangi ki pensen ki tila tena, nganzo yabu shi tongwa da, ra. Tenda indi ka la, ani, ta kola kange ji titi, ani nganzo ki pa, shambe ki lo chao, ra. Kola ti jing, kalo ta, pagila kalo ta dungela nga tsu jawadala nga tsu hinjiro shawara ta chitangi kola dedu da tende kangi ji tengu kala de shambe ki lo chene ra de la pa jawa che da tende ki lo da rashu ki le da.
So now moving on, we now arrive at the fourth precept of causes and fruit, which is developing a mental outlook of them herein referring to mother sentient beings as being appealing to our mind. Now herein, what do we really mean by developing a mental outlook of them as being appealing to our mind? Now, how herein, when we are talking about appeal, we need to understand it with the relation, in relation to the process of contemplation that we are talking about so far. Identifying them as mothers, remembering their kindness, repaying their kindness. So look at the manner in which appearances does not affect the relationship when the relationship is defined by a sense of kindness and gratitude. It doesn't matter for a child if their mother is crippled or deformed. The child looks at the mother as something appealing to their mind, because because they understand that their mothers are worthy of their attention, worthy of their love, worthy of their care, worthy of their compassion. So that's why they are appealing to our mind. So this is the manner in which we need to look at all sentient beings as being our mothers. So as such, they are appealing in the sense they are worthy of our attention, worthy of our time, worthy of our love and compassion. Now, if we are able to develop such a mental outlook, then we look at all sentient beings as appealing, worthy of our time, attention, love, care, and so forth. Which brings us to the next step, the fifth, now developing love. Love and compassion. Now, compassion we already discussed. Fifth and sixth, developing love, then developing compassion. Compassion is the wish to alleviate or to free someone from their suffering. And love is the wish to see someone be happy, or be happy, or be with the causes of happiness.
There somebody in the Sasara. That Penamiji be gangi to Tidiana. That the gangi de Donis Sawadi. Nara Rangi Chago Sangra. Susuman petition. The Kaduman Rotunijilla, Nazal Hassan Lavora. Once someone like Chico, what you was a Kulu Yority, Panguzuba Kangin and Zuyat, Pekalikauta. Ra. Pena Pugudoji, Chuna Sawaina. Ra. Pena Shanda Nija to do the Kocho Govada, Kola, Dungi, Mazuba, Lotan of the Chigre. In the Hassan the Caresana, Pagil, nothing, Pena Chuna Sasha, you put in Garangi Chawin, Chunama Chonto Niroj. That the Hassan Ra. The Lord Chibachi, Garangi, turn to edge. Ra. Ganzula Macha Karel and the Pagila Kangiti in Sembala Madea or the Majua Shoa, Koya Tower Shoda, Ganzul Rashik in Lemuda. In a Garangi Chigula in the Pay Kalikawa.
So now the seventh one is resolve, developing the resolve. Now this is very, very important, because it might be the case that through this process of contemplation we are able to generate love and compassion for sentient beings, but then we cannot really bring ourselves to act in a manner in which we are able to help someone who is suffering. Now resolve is that intent, that intentional action, that volitional action, which we undertake, which we undertake to help someone who is in distress or someone who is suffering. So resolve is explained with this analogy, that if there is a child drowning in a river, then resolve is that mental factor which impels us to jump into the river and to save the child. That's the resolve. Now, many times we lack such a resolve because we think about kindness and kindness, love and compassion in these terms. For example, if we see someone who is suffering, immediately, of course, when we witness someone who is suffering, there is a sense of unease in our mind. And on the basis of that unease that we experience, we say that, oh, I wish he or she is free from that suffering. And that's the extent of what we equate with love and compassion. But maybe unless love and compassion is not sustained by such a resolve, the seventh precept, then it is not effective at all. So this is the resolve that you yourself, I myself, will take it upon myself to help someone who is suffering. This is the resolve that one needs.
Di nyamne di chetu ena ngazu pechi mitsu la kange me baro chira ne wo dinde inza ne ngazu di la pe de shivi chawa pe da tön da ya su ripa da kari ne sha di jinze di insra dinde inza di ta chanzu longo le chi chaso da chanju sem la inde ende chire lo chiba mandawa chi resha sami chi tingi de asra di kizi tewa ina ane dingal ta so so nyame chena ane teblo ya da ndamne chura.
So now when we look at the root text itself, this awakening mind is only highlighted in a few words, in a few lines, but I find it very important to kind of discuss this in detail, because from the Buddhist perspective, if one is able to generate such an awakening mind of bodhicitta, then it is understood that it really helps us to live this life, live this life as well as in our future lives, without too much of self-inflicted suffering, if we are able to develop such an altruistic intention. So this is the reason why I went into quite a detailed discussion about bodhicitta and the manner in which one can generate such an altruistic intention. So I've tried to explore it with examples, with the detailed presentation from the textual systems on how to generate it. So I am hopeful that maybe with this kind of detailed instruction, you get the idea how important it is in terms of practice in Buddhism, and that you understand the profound nature of such an altruistic mind. Are you able to get that impression from our discussions? So then I have a question. How many methods or causes are there through which we can generate such an awakening mind?
Yeah.
What are those two methods?
Equalizing self for others.
Seven precepts of cause and fruits. Tini junde menga.
나도 시시서 정도 세면은 되고 문더라 어디 진트거라야 나라서 난자를 저 소마에 가서 참아 찍어야 되잖아 난 전절에 이제 다 나보는 쓰는더라 나라서 참아게 디시니게 파기 신에서 시에 그런 저에 될지 장가래래 인자기 가서 냠도치 계정라 다오나 유네 명아 되는 거래서.
So I'm not trying to terrorize you with these questions. We are here together, so it is important that the effort is matched. We kind of, as the instructor, as I begin to explain a lot, it should be the case that you understand some of what is being discussed. Okay, then moving on. Then, fruit, causes and fruit. There is one fruit only. Junde menga lara. Tanganzo gi debu la dila konzo inji tane dilapa. Ngazo nanju shingde gi debu de jurshara. Ta junde la zomba jutugra.
Judan debu. Junde gi
debu chigra.
fruit de ta juda debu la shara.
Debu di chigyora. Chikha.
Yene menga de ta wal hasam.
Hasam di debu. So these first 6 of these are causes. And the final resolve is the fruit.
그래서 간데스 차이들 나서 담아 마시 텐텐텐서 예오 샴바 니제 참아 제사디 다디 녜 차고래 데부터 도도 나서 디고라 봐 드네마 참마 텐히 드주 참마 심비건 드주 참마 녜래 예비건 아니 같이 두라 다가서 가서 주지에 메지 합도 메지갈 테 나서 로 땅그래 땅마라 세자 더 참마시건 딱거 이네 땅가 얘기 게르서 제가 좀 딜리도 패시 예 패션도 토마스 다가라 디파타네 애니지멘트서
So think about it in this manner, that how can we develop such a resolve? We cannot immediately develop such a resolve that you would personally go to the lengths to help someone who is suffering, or to help all sentient beings who are suffering. So it is through this process of contemplation, first recognizing mothers and so forth, and then you build or you generate the resolve that you will take it upon yourself to help those sentient beings who are in suffering. Yes.
Yeah.
So, how does bodhicitta help us want to reach enlightenment?
Tene nganzogi chanchugi semla digesra ani sanjegi koban thobalasra pheng hande thobi ore.
Tadi pe tewa apara. Tada ngazogi chanchugi cha ngazogi saje goma thawala tabda shirami yagi thonro ra. Pena 자로지 난칼라 바쁘고이나 쇼파니고다 라 쇼파치기 피투문다 테나시 간조기 탐 사제 고마타와라 아니 탑다 시라미가 손드되고 라 단다 샤주기 센시디 탑부차 차죠 다시 돈이도 비시르도 아니 시르고 차라 세상 태신이도 손드되고네 아니 타바다 파치면 고마타야 남초도 저 차야.
So this is a very, very good question. Now, when we are talking about the ultimate goal of achieving enlightenment, then we talk about the importance of cultivating both wisdom and method. So we have to cultivate both in the spiritual path towards enlightenment. So wisdom herein refers to the wisdom of emptiness, realizing emptiness. And now method, cultivating method or skillful means, so to say, refers to first generating the altruistic intention of bodhicitta and then putting that altruistic intention into action.
그래서 사제의 고마래에 간대질라는 상랑을 되가라 요몬바다치 마리베니를 상와라시라 아니 제월라디 시자타질로 로트죠 라 된대질로 고거라 근데 인디가라 따라서 이치기 근데 시럽 집어질 때네 아니 간저기 지기 칼로 마리베이 모바타지 봤어요 라 아니 지기 시럽 될 때네 아니 간저기 로트 타다 제바 근데 제바 제발라야 아니 소놈기 초도 인지면 싸우라 소놈기 초기 아니 파기 시럽을 tro죠 탑데 시럽이도 손도 되고네 나사지 고만 되나 아니 티치오라.
So now when we say enlightenment, we need to first understand what exactly is enlightenment. Now when we talk about the Buddha who has achieved enlightenment, then a Buddha is referred to as the awakened one. And now this translation doesn't really take into account the second part of the manner in which we refer to someone who is a Buddha. Awakened one captures awakened one refers to someone who has awakened from the obscurations of afflictive obscurations as well as cognitive obscurations. Then the other part which is lost in the translation is the victorious one. The victorious one who has completely perfected all the positive qualities of the mind. Now, in order for us to reach such a state of enlightenment, we already talked about the importance of cultivating both wisdom and method. Now, how does it relate to enlightenment exactly? In order to achieve enlightenment, it is said that one must accumulate merit and wisdom, virtue and wisdom. Now, wisdom we already discussed. So, in the process of accumulating merit, then one has to engage in the acts of bodhisattvas.
야야 아니 가서 셀라이라 다들이 님 저대니데 상주생 걸 신전다 예 안티가로 산다 겨서 같이 팀에 있나야 로봇도 계제 티라 산다 소소소 산당서 시지고라.
So okay, we stop here and break for lunch. I have to say that we spent 2 whole sessions on bodhicitta. So for those of you who have taken notes, I want you to kind of refer back to your notes and think about it further. For those of you who didn't really take any notes, then try to discuss with your fellow participants and really try to personally think about bodhicitta and see if it is possible to generate such a mind within yourself.
그래서 총도 봐서 나타나 맞자로 지라야라. 다디가 아니 수기 안배는 진에 메가 되어 가르르르르다 댐담 로야라. 담보는 가서 찍론도 제라 찍찍 고다. 아 디디는 도 가디 따이나니. 가족이 파기 칼로. 대비 까찰 다운 하고다. 어쨌든가 진대로 차대 그러면서 뭐 다시 들어다는 좀 시요 말아. 예수스 로야르티.
So if we use an analogy, if you want to engage in business, you need some capital first. So similarly, with regards to spiritual practice, you have some capital now, spiritual capital now, because if you have to kind of, even if you have the inclination and desire to explore the different texts, but if you do not really have some foundational understanding about what exactly is being talked about, then it is really difficult. So now you have some foundational spiritual capital. So you can go about, check out any books you want to, and then you can just flip the contents and see where exactly do they begin talking about bodhicitta, and then begin to read on your own.
그래서 시간이 뭐나